Hi everybody, this is Angelique coming to you live from the Shoe Chick Art Studio in fabulous downtown Las Vegas. Woo woo! I don't know where the woo woo comes from. I just always want to do that like after I say that. But anyway, I'm the Shoe Chick because when you paint with me, kids in Africa get shoes. And if you'd like to find out more information about that, you should go to my website, theshoechickstore.com. And you can see all the other paintings I have available. You can buy stuff. You can send me messages. So today, this is like all my paint parties are like Paint Party 101, where I take you about 90% through the painting and then you finish it on your own. You don't learn anything fancy, but you do have a good time. That is my mission, is that kind of introduce you to the world of painting and take a little bit of the intimidation factor away from it. And during these times right now, we need a stress reliever, right? We need something to take our minds away. And art is very therapeutic. So I hope you enjoy painting with me today. We are painting, funny thing, I don't know where the original of this is. I had it at one point and now like I can't find it when it's time to do this tutorial. It's not big, it's a little painting. So I'm okay with it because I needed to have a big painting of this. And actually, maybe this will help. This is what we're painting today. And this is my tribute. I have a couple of paintings for breast cancer awareness. As you can see, it's kind of like the ribbon in the middle. And it says, "Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power." So, anyone that you know that is going through breast cancer, you know it's a tough battle. So, if you're a survivor, may God keep you strong, and congratulations. And yeah, breast cancer is just a horrible thing. So make sure you get your mammogram. Early detection is a super big deal. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you 90% through this painting, and then you get to finish it on your own. And you're probably looking like, she didn't trace some flowers out, because it's not necessary. You're going to get it. It's easy. Okay, we got 3 colors going on in this painting, which is really cool. I need you to take the lids and tape and stuff off your paints. I'm already like a little messy in my paints already. So take the lids off and fill your water cup halfway with water. And we're painting with acrylic paints like we always do. You have an apron in your kit. Make sure you open it up. You might have to put a little bit of water on your hands. And it goes over your head. That came in your kit. You also have a blue paper towel. You have my little flyer in there with all my information at the top and all the other cool paint parties I have available. I actually do live parties too, so you can book me to paint on Zoom with your friends, and when this crazy virus goes away, we'll all be painting again soon. It's going to be fun. So on the back of your canvas, there is this easel back. You're going to squeeze the sides up, push that flap down in the middle, like this. Okay, squeeze the flaps up. It needs to connect in the bottom like that. And it's going to hold your canvas up on the surface that you're painting on, like a real life artiste. Isn't that cool? And of course, when you finish your painting, you can rip that off and throw it away, because you're going to hang your masterpiece up on the wall, okay? I feel like I'm out of the shot here, so let me get in here. My camera team. Yeah, my camera team. That's me. Got the shot a little off. Okay, so like we always do when we paint, we take this sponge brush, we dunk it in our water, and we apply a light coat of water on the canvas to prime it so it's ready to accept paint, right? A lot of these canvases, especially in the summertime when they've been in storage and stuff, they're really dry and brittle, and we don't want the canvas to suck up that first layer of paint, okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint the background. We always paint the background first, and we're going to paint it a really light gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my white paint, I'm going to pour it in my tray, and I'm going to take a little bit of my black paint and pour it in my tray. And I'm going to mix a little bit of black with the white, and I'm going to make gray. And it's a tiny bit, like it's so tiny. It's really tiny, because we don't want the background to be too dark, okay? So tiny, 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 like that. See? You see that? Yeah. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around these circles because those are going to be my flowers. I'm going to go around them with the gray. And I don't like my gray. I think it's a little too dark, but it's okay. I'm going to work with it because there are no do-overs in my tutorials because there are no mistakes. That's why we don't have to do editing, because anything that you can fix with acrylic paints, if there's something that you don't like, you just wait for it to dry and you paint over it. It's that easy. Okay, so I paint the circles in. Then I'm going to outline the ribbon. Outline the ribbon, and then I'm going to paint the background in gray. Okay, and I'm even going to paint right over these words. And the reason why I wrote the words on there in marker, because a lot of people are really nervous when it comes to writing words down. If you don't like my handwriting, if you don't like the way I did it, you can paint over it really dark and white, or you could paint dark gray over it, and then you could do your own lettering if you want. Otherwise, we're going to paint over it, and then you're going to take that tiny pointed brush and you're going to paint over it so the words stand out, okay? So the reason why I write those words on there, because people are really intimidated about using their handwriting or something. I don't know, but it freaks people out. So my purpose is to alleviate the stress, not create stress for you, right? So I am mixing a little bit more gray paint. I'm putting more white in my tray. I'm putting more water on my brush because my paint's kind of sticky. And I want it to be super light when I go over these words, because I want to be able to see, be strong in the Lord. I want to be able to see all that. So what I want you to do now is take your gray brush and paint in the background gray, lightly over the words so that you're able to see them and fill in the background, okay? And if you're confused, just follow me, okay? Let me play a little music that you're probably not going to recognize, because I don't want my videos to get tagged and copyright infringements and all that good stuff, okay? Super light gray. I don't know if you noticed that mine's a little dark up there, so a little darker than I want. So I'm just going to use water now, and I'm going to blend it in. And I don't mind the dark as long as it's not so dark like over those letters, because I want to be able to see those letters. And I'm not being super meticulous around these circles. I just want them to represent where my flower is going to go. And I'm painting sideways, and it's a long reach over there, so when you get together, I almost fell. That would be interesting, right? So, a lot more water on my paintbrush so I can smooth all this out. And you might want your background to be more solid. Up to you. I'm looking at the reference photos. We got a little design work to do in the back. Using more water, kind of smooth it out, and to lighten it up. And again, the circles for me just represent where the flowers are going to go. So I'm not being super meticulous about Making sure they're round, perfectly round. And you'll see why once we get to that part. Using the flat of that sponge brush and the tip of it around the flowers. I'm going too fast. Put me on pause so you can finish the background. Alright. Doesn't look like much, but I have the vision. I know it's going to come together. I also painted the sides of my painting. That's called wrapping your painting. And that's because when you hang up, that's so when you hang up your masterpiece, you will not need a frame. Okay? So I'm painting the sides. Until I'm happy with it. Over the letters. But I want to be able to see the letters. And I still can see mine because I did a really light gray. Hopefully you did too. And if you didn't, it's okay. Just trust yourself and write in the Bible verse for yourself, okay? Alright. So, and the reason why I'm not like super concerned about the circles, because we're going to turn those circles into flowers, okay? I just wanted the placement of the flowers to be pretty close to your reference photo. Oh, funny thing. That middle part right there, I almost touched the screen when I should be touching the painting. The middle part is also gray. So, I'm outlining that and I'm painting it in gray. Okay. This would be a nice gift for someone that is in the midst of their battle or that is a survivor. You know? They need encouragement. We all need encouragement, right? So anyway, I don't really like the top part. Like I want to be more smooth or even coating. So again, I'm taking a little bit of water and kind of smoothing it out a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to work on that ribbon. And you have that beautiful magenta color. Only 3 colors in this kit. I love that. And I'm going to use the paintbrush, that's flat tip paintbrush. I'm going to outline it. Outline the ribbon. And you want to make sure that it looks like the ribbon. Not much flexibility in that. Just going to go right on top of the trace lines that we have. Okay, and then you're just going to paint it in. Alright? So, let's go. Using a flat tip brush, if it gets a little sticky, add a little water. If I'm going too fast, pause me. Paint's getting a little sticky. I'm adding a little bit of water to it so it flows better. Doing long brush strokes, so you can do short brush strokes, whatever you're comfortable with. Now make sure you look at your painting with your artist's eye and even up that ribbon, okay? So I finally made my way around this ribbon. It doesn't look like I want it to look when I look at it with my artist eye. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to paint the centers of these flowers. And the reason why I'm doing that next is because I want the ribbon to dry so that I can apply another coat to it and clean up the edges of it a little bit. And acrylic paints look bigger, bolder, better as you apply coats. You don't want to put a big glob of paint on at once. You want it to dry and then you want to apply another coat. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just randomly painting circles, pretty nice even circles where they were previously traced for me. Not obsessing about the exact shape of them, but just drawing the circle and painting it in, okay? So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Almost lost that circle in there. And 8. All right? So I'm going to go back to this ribbon or the base of the flower, and I'm going to really clean up these edges. I want them to really be clean and neat by just going right along the edge of it. Maybe adding a tiny, tiny bit of water if the paint's not flowing the way you want. And cleaning up the edges, making them just a little bit straighter where you want them to be straight. And maybe you don't want them to be straight. It's your painting, so you don't have to make it straight if you don't want to. It's kind of hard for me to see how even it is because I'm looking from the side and then I'm looking at the camera, and then when you look at the camera, you get another distorted view. But I'm trying to clean up these edges so you kind of get an idea what I mean. You want it to be, I want mine to be pretty opaque, so I'm kind of really, where the paint has skipped a little bit, kind of filling it in. And then if you want to create a little bit of contrast, like in your reference photo, you're going to put a little bit of white paint on your brush. And you don't want your white paint to turn pink because you need it to paint the flowers. So you can pour a little bit on your tray or use a little bit from the lid. And just lightly brush a little bit of white here and there. And then if you go over it with your magenta or fuchsia paint and blend it in, you get a little bit of contrast going on, and you'll see what I mean when you start doing that. Okay? Ooh, it's coming together. Now, how the heck do we do these flowers? Well, if you look at the flower petals, they're really just circles, kind of like distorted circles. So let's take that first one, the first one to the right here. Or the left, my right, I don't know. You know what I mean, this one. We're gonna wash our paintbrush out. I'm gonna show you how to do the first flower. I'm not gonna show you how to do all of them, all right? Because remember, I'm just taking you 90% through the paint. So I am squishing my brush around in the water. I'm looking for my blue paper towel, which I don't know where it is. Here's one. And I'm wiping it off pretty good because I want the white to kind of stand out around these flowers. So wipe it off pretty good. Now, if you don't trust yourself, you can take a piece of chalk and draw it in for yourself. Okay, I'm looking for a piece of chalk here. I have a piece of chalk. You can take the chalk and draw. Let's look at the first flower right here. I'm getting confused, like where the flower is. Okay, over here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals on this flower, okay? So they're really just circles. So you can just draw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with your chalk. And hopefully I gave you a colored piece of chalk so you're able to see it. And then you're going to take the white paint, and I just want you to do circles at first around the center. So you're going to just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals around. Okay. It's hard to see because of the light, but if I turn my light around, you can kind of see it a little bit better. See that? Wasn't that easy? Just 5 circles. So all of them have 1, 2, 3, 4. Some have 4, some have 5. So all we're doing is connecting circles to circles. I am just going to randomly put these petals around the flower, and I'm not following the reference photo. You can follow the reference photo if you want, but I want to make sure. Look, I said I wasn't going to paint all these flowers, but I started getting into the painting, and I just want to do it. So I'm going to quickly, all I'm doing to create these flowers is I'm putting circles around the circle that's already there. And you'll see, like, once you start doing it, you'll see the flowers kind of come alive. You might want to change the position of the petals that you're doing. And the black outlining that we're going to add later is going to help bring the flowers to life, okay? And it's a really light outlining. It's not really hard at all, like hard in terms of the color and the contrast. You can do it like that. It'll look more like a coloring book, but if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. So that's quite a bit of flowers that I'm doing for you that I said I wasn't going to do, right? So there you go. Okay, I'm going to do all the flowers because I just can't. I just want to. So let me play a little music here. Finish these flowers up. Might have to get some more white paint. Oh, it's right behind me. How cool is that? Love being in my studio and things are right in my fingertips. All right, doing these flowers. Not following the reference photos, just putting circles around circles. Okay. Isn't that fun how just these circles around circles look like flowers? I think it's fun. Oops. Got a little carried away there. Got too much white on my paintbrush. It is pretty heavy, the white that I'm putting down here, just so you know. And I smeared a little bit into my feet, but I'm okay with that. I can fix that later. Just wait for it to dry and go over it. Alright? I think I'm going to another petal. I'm looking at, like, right here. I got pink on my brush, but I'm the same, so I'm rinsing it off. And I'm wiping it off really good on my paper towel. take a look at your flowers, kind of decide if where you want more petals at, okay? You might have been exactly following the reference photo, and that's cool. I got a little bit of white paint there, look at that. Just gonna blend it in there a little bit. Or I can paint over it in gray. Alright, so let's do some detail work on one of these flowers. Ooh, shoot. I just dropped a lot of paint. But that's okay. Okay, let me get what I dropped real quick. Gotta love my live paint parties. Because I just dropped a bunch of paint. But it's acrylic, and it washes very easily with water, okay? So, excuse me a minute. Adjust a few things. Okay, we're back at it. Okay, I'm gonna make some gray paint. I've made a really big mess, but it's okay because I'm in my studio. So I'm gonna take a little bit of white paint and a little bit of black paint in my tray, and I'm gonna make gray, okay? And I'm gonna outline one of these flowers, the petals, using, okay, I'm gonna wash it off because I got too much paint on that brush. I don't want that much paint. If you have paint all over the metal part of there, that's just like way too much paint. I made gray in here. I'm gonna make the gray a little bit lighter and by adding a little bit of white. And I'm gonna go around this petal just a little bit here and there, drawing some lines directly in to the petals. Just a little detail work. And while you're doing that, you're going to go around at each individual flower. Add a little bit of gray. Once you start defining the petals a little bit, you'll see what I mean. The flowers will really start coming to life, okay? I'm just going to work on this side so I don't knock anything else over today. I guess I got the dropsies. I'm just going to work on these flowers on this side, okay? So once you do that, add a little bit of gray. If you haven't noticed, there's some swirling action going around in the background. So when you have this gray that you made, you might want to just randomly put some swirls, or you might want to do your chalk and chalk it out a little bit if you're not comfortable doing that. But there's just some fun swirling going around in the background. And how I'm doing that is I'm just starting in the middle and I'm trusting myself to just bring the swirl out a little bit. You can mix a little, I'm mixing a little bit, making it a little bit darker. I mixed a little bit of black in there to make my swirl darker. And I'm going over it again because I kind of wanted it to be a little bit darker. Okay? If you're able to just do that one big brush stroke for the swirl, it's cool. If you can't, then don't. Just do it a little bit at a time. If you add a little bit of water to your brush, you can smooth it out and give it a more cool, flowing effect. Okay? So that's how we did those swirls in the background. Again, you can do it with chalk. You can play around in between the different shades of gray. You can make them thicker. You can add white to them. Make them stand out a little bit differently. Add black to them later. And just kind of play around with the background a little bit, okay? There's lots of swirl action going around in the back. And there's actually, I'm looking at my reference photo, there's actually a lot of little like brush strokes maybe going around the flowers themselves. Totally up to you. Adds a little interest to the background. You can soften them up a little bit by adding a little white just right on top of them, okay? Since we're playing around with this gray a little bit, as you're looking at the ribbon or the base of the flower, you could take the darker gray that you made. We don't want it to be a real hard line, but you can use that gray to kind of bring some definition to the bow of the vase. So I'm just going around the edges just a little bit, not a lot, not a real hard line, but just kind of here and there, okay? Kind of bring it back alive. Now, if you feel like you put too much, you can go back into your magenta paint and thin out the line just a little bit. Thin it out with your magenta paint. And see, when you add all these different effects, kind of takes away from the fact if it's lopsided if you didn't do it the way you wanted. Okay? Okay, so I've taken about 90% through the painting. I want to show you one more thing. And remember when I told you I had the Joxies? Well, I dropped the white paint, and then I dropped my paintbrush. So I have to get my paintbrush real quick, okay? Because I want to show you what we're going to do with this pointed, detailed brush, okay? So, okay, got it. This brush right here. Now, we can cheat. You can get a Sharpie marker and go right over these letters and really bring them out, to bring the Bible verse out. Or you can use this pointed brush, the pointed detail brush, and go over the words. Takes a little while, but you know, it's kind of fun, like just taking your time and painting and bringing the words to life. But again, if it's stressing you out, go ahead and get the Sharpie. And I had to take a moment and make sure I was putting the right word on here. Get your Sharpie and go over it, or you can do it with the paintbrush. I'm trying to do it a little quick so you can see the painting come alive a little bit. So, if you look between the flowers, there's some detail work. Like there's little leaves and there's little vines connecting the flowers. So with the detail brush or with the other brush, doesn't really matter. Totally up to you. I'm not really following the reference painting because that's kind of stressful. I'm just going to connect some lines to the vase, the stems of the flowers, if you will. And then I'm going to freehand some leaves. If you think of them like little diamonds, it's kind of easier. So, or triangles, paint them in. Look at that. Look at your painting come alive. Now these flowers are nowhere near complete. All right, this painting is like, you need another hour to pull this painting together. So if you're looking at my painting, you're like, ew, looks kind of messy. Yeah, it does, because I'm giving you the lay of the land. You got to do the details, okay? So work on each individual flower, bring it to life, use your detail brush, go around it a little bit, maybe even go over the fuchsia. Like I'm going to work on this flower like just a little bit more. I'm going to play a little music and work on this one flower and bring it to life. Since I have black on my paintbrush, I'm going to kind of add a little bit more black to my swirls in the background because I want to, and it's my painting. So I'm adding a little bit of black to my swirls to kind of bring them to life a little bit. Okay, I'm going to work on this flower, play another goofy song. Let's see what I got here. And bring that flower back to life, give you an idea. Okay. Just a little detail work on this flower here. Switching back to my flat brush into my magenta paint. Working on the center a little bit more. Gonna clean up a few of these circles since I have it on there. Okay. So see how just a little bit more work on that guy, that flower there, makes it look so much better. At the very, very end, when you have all your flowers the way you want them with your artist's eye and everything looks great, allow your painting to dry just a little bit. Well, actually, the fuchsia in the flowers needs to be dry a lot because that's when we add all of our white highlights to the painting. And so, like little reflection points. So when all your flowers are dry, you're going to add just a little stroke of white here and there to kind of bring out the flowers. You don't have to do it in every one, but you get an idea. It kind of brings the flowers to life. So I hope you enjoyed this painting. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you painted this for someone special. If you're a survivor, God bless you. May God keep you healthy. And if you're in the midst of your battle, stay strong. Stay strong. And ladies, get your mammogram every year. October, I have a couple of paintings. I have Wings of Hope. I have this one, and I'm going to be doing a new one this year. I saw one that really inspired me with boxing gloves. So it is a fight, and cancer sucks. But I hope you enjoyed painting. I hope your painting turned out beautiful. Like I said, this needs a lot more work, at least an hour. A paint party is usually 2 hours. So I think I've been on with you maybe 30, maybe 40 minutes. So take your time. It's a journey, not a race. Enjoy the experience. And check out my other videos and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram under the Shoe Chick Art Studio. Follow me on Facebook under the Shoe Chick Art Studio, or just my name, you'll find me. Okay? Thank you. Be safe. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.